I'm going to start off with a question. Do you think Pogba is world class? I think he is because if you think about it, well, if I think about it, he's displayed top quality performances at the biggest stages of all for him. He's done that in the World Cup final, the biggest stage. He changed the game. He sparked the win. He done it in the Europa League final for Man United. He's performed well in Champions League finals that he's been in. He has done. I think he had a great display against Liverpool in the Europa League semi-final. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Pogba has turned up at the biggest stages of all FA Cup finals too. One criticism is that he may not do it as frequently before, but as we explore this video in greater detail, we will be able to find that there was a reason for this in some ways. You know, what he's doing now under Solskjaer, he's playing with a freedom. And that's something that we never really saw with him at Man United under Mourinho, because he would play well for France. We knew what he did at Juve, and it was almost like, why can't we get the same Pogba for Man United? And we'll get it in drips and drabs, but we'll never get it at a point where it's consistent enough to be to not have the scrutiny that he does get. And it's been really interesting when Solskjaer's come in now, because I feel like when Mourinho was at the club, he didn't really submit and almost abide by the culture of the club, which is free attacking football, free flowing football, and encouraging the use of youth in the club. And this is something that Solskjaer's kind of done immediately. The first game that he's done, he played Rashford, he played Lingard, he played who else did they have played? Martial. He just went full attacking football, and now Pogba's playing in a free role. Solskjaer said he's already going to build a team around Pogba. So Pogba is now feeling like he's appreciated, and he's playing with a bit of freedom. And this is something that's very important for him, but also footballers in general and athletes in general. And that's something that we're going to really look at as well. So Mourinho had his own style of playing. It was almost his way, the highway, or his way or the highway rather. And you had that in Juan Mata. For an example, back in Chelsea, he was one of the best players at the club at the time, playing under Mourinho. Mourinho wanted him to work a little bit more and be a bit more of a winger, so to speak, left wing back. And Mata wasn't really given that. He wasn't having it really, and so Mourinho sold him. And so that's an example of Mourinho having his way, and if you don't meet it, you're not really going to be part of his team. And that can work at a start of a club in the reign, but it doesn't work well long term, especially if it's not within their remit. And that's where we'll move on to 3 inherent needs. So these are needs that individuals and human beings need to have to feel motivated. And United lacked motivation in the last year or so. They had a lack of motivation, and hopefully after this video you'll have an idea why, and you can see why there's an increase in motivation right now. And so the first thing that an individual needs to feel is competence. They need to feel that they're able to commit and complete the task that is at hand. So very quickly, you got United. If I just mention some of the names, you got Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez, you have Pogba, you have Martial, you have Rashford, you have Lingard, you have, I'm not sure if I mentioned him already, Lukaku. You had a great attacking team here, and it's one of the best in the league, but they're not showing that. And that's because they've been asked to do something that's outside of their remit, which is more of a defensive kind of style in play. They're playing a little bit more reserved. They're not playing with freedom. And this is one of the things that United lacked within the last, I'll say, year to 18 months, is that they lacked the ability to feel competent, that they're able to commit to the task that Mourinho wants, i.e. parking the bus. I'm not saying that they park the bus every game, but we'll get into that debate another time. But that is one inherent need. Another one is autonomy. You need to feel like you're in control of what you're doing, so the task that you're doing, that you feel like you're able to be a bit more inventive and use your own ideas and apply your own kind of style towards the task at hand. So let's just use United again as an example. They have to play a particular way. Mourinho will sub you off at half time if you're not doing that, or during the first half. So they don't feel like they're able to express themselves in the way that they would like to, because they know that they have to do it this way. Otherwise, they're probably going to get publicly humiliated. So these two factors, alongside the third one that I'll mention in a moment, is very important for you to feel in order for you to be motivated. And because there was a lack of these factors at the club, the players were lacking a bit of motivation. So it's important for a coach in order to make their players feel like they have a bit of control in what they're doing. And also they need to make sure that their players feel like they are able to complete the task at hand. And maybe it might seem like they might not be able to, but you need to make them feel like they can. And that's why there was a bit of a breakdown in the relationship with the coach and manager and as a result performance. And the last one is relatedness. You need to feel connected to others in general as human beings. We need to feel like we're related to other people, but more specifically to Man United, they need to feel somewhat connected and relatable to the manager. Doesn't mean you have to be best friends. It just means they need to feel like they're able to speak to you and feel that they can share maybe some concerns, not necessarily in their personal life, but more so on the pitch. They can feel like they can relate to your message, that your message that you give them is related to their philosophy as a player and their kind of remit and their ability. And so that's something that you want to install and ensure that there is that kind of relationship and connection with players. And I'll just give you a quick example. Let's just say like Oxlade-Chamberlain, right? He left Arsenal. One of the reasons why he left Arsenal is because he likes the way that Klopp guides his teams, like high press, high intensity, high energy. That is one of the reasons that Chamberlain went to Liverpool. And that's something that he's already experienced relatedness before even going to the club. So his motivation will be high because he will then feel like he's related to the manager. He feels he's able to complete those tasks that Klopp will give him. And then you have autonomy where he feels like he's a bit in control in how he's developing and how he's moving forward. And so, those are my quick overview in terms of how United are doing. But once again, it's important for you to feel like you have those three inherent needs. These are things that are embedded in us as humans. If we don't feel like this, we have a lack of motivation. And so it's good for you to have an awareness on what are the factors are that can kind of decrease your motivation, so then you can use that to improve your motivation. And this is very useful for coaches as well, to know exactly what will get your players to be motivated and what will almost decrease motivation levels. So how can you manipulate that? That's a question. And it's great that Solskjaer's doing that. He knows the culture of the club, so he's making sure that players are competent. Most of the players go to the club because of that philosophy and that culture. He needs to make sure that the players feel like they're a bit in control, that they can be able to play with a bit of a freedom, which they're already doing. And he needs to be relatable to them. He played for them. So that's one factor already that brings that closeness in there. And so let's just see how it unfolds for United over the next couple of weeks. But so far, so good. And if you're a Man United fan, I'm definitely not. You should be happy right now.